Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Singularity. Tonight we'll be discussing a few things. I've got on my mind. Give me a little bit to share these links. I'm going to kind of drop them in a couple tonight, which I haven't been doing in a while. Should only take a few minutes. It's been a nice day the past couple days. Not used to this type of weather for being in Ohio. Normally it's freezing. All right. Now that that's taken care of. Yeah, it's been a kind of interesting the past couple of days when I think you guys might have seen the description there. It amazes me at some of the ads we'll find on here on YouTube or people's channels that monetize. Yeah, we free TV. It has definitely been nice, which is, at least the northwestern part, abnormal. Normally it's frigid by this time of the year. Of course, it's not December yet, so I knock on wood while I'm ahead. Good evening. But I'm going to show you some ads here that me personally would not be wanting my kids, if I had kids, would want my kids to see. But yet, these are monetized ads that are appropriate for this platform, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's just offering it, but you guys know. Yeah, then I'm going to show you this was another monetized ad. These are on people's channels that, I know they're more family oriented, wouldn't approve of these type of ads. I mean, the first one, it's in the bottom of your screen or I keep my videos all stretched out. But Bitcoin advertising on YouTube, which is funny because a couple weeks ago, the FCC, but the Federal Reserve sent warnings out to Hollywood celebrities that were advertising on Twitter about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and basically gave them a warning that it's illegal here in the U.S. Yet buy Bitcoin with your IRA. I said, the one that got me. Really? Mind you, I've seen this like 5 times today alone. As you can see, another video I was just watching. That came up twice during his video. So, interesting. those type of ads are appropriate. Am I Bitcoin? Nah, I'm going to get into that a bit. In my description, guys, there's 2 links. I have 3 links. I don't know how many of you guys follow the Kev Baker. He's been having, because it's, was it Freedom Radio, I think, where they broadcast from? But on a couple days during the week, Anthony Patch on, which I don't know how many of you heard of him. He's all right. The last couple of weeks they've been talking about Bitcoin, blockchain, Sophia, which I get into a little bit tonight too as well. But 2 of the videos where they talk about it, playing, especially I think it was the free Bitcoin, is Singularity. How Anthony basically, what Bitcoin is more of an AI program. It's an AI, not a person created. Basically, they talk about chain and the similar effect. It's proper stuff. The truth is, I mean, I understand, I don't know it. There is a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. I personally think it's going to be something else. But it's coming, and it's coming fast. I mean, right now, I think the United States is the only country that really still has laws against cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin and stuff like that, to where we have to, if you want to, see, that's what a lot of these guys that keep talking about the Bitcoin and so on, they don't tell you is that, and this is from, I don't know how many guys know Steemit. Well, one of the designers and creators of Steemit is now creating another blockchain, which will be the blockchain of all blockchains, in his words, because it'll be allowed for the fastest processing. That's where Bitcoin and all of them are struggling now. You can't trade fast. The systems won't allow it. He's now working on it, plans to unveil it by next year. But he even said people in the United States can't make no money off the cryptocurrencies because of the laws. So you have to buy secondhand from overseas. Therefore, you can't make the big bucks. I mean, that's out of his own mouth. I'll have to go find that video. He's saying a lot of stuff a lot of other people are. I mean, it depends on your state of mind on that one. Yeah, it goes back to my last show I did, how I broke it down. Grab a pen and paper, draw a square. How many squares are in a square? Go ahead, divide the square in half, make the cross. Now you have how many squares? You have 5. 4 new ones plus the original. Now do it again for each of the squares. You now have 21. It's self-replicating. But what it is also, now here's what it is also for anybody that study esoterics, they'll understand this even more because it is based on design principles and theories are based off magical squares. And that's another thing I agree with. Let me share my chat. I need to share screens anyway because I am going to be showing you guys something else here in a little bit. But yeah, I'm completely against it. because I see the dangers of, like you point out, the internet could go down. We could have electricity goes down. You can't access your money. But here's where it gets even a little scarier. Let's look at all the new technology that's coming out. We have, I can't remember. I'm not even going to name them because just naming them seems to get you a little censored a little bit. But you guys know that some of the products are coming out. Your cell phones now, you can pay with stuff just off your cell phone. So they're already programmed for a cryptocurrency. It's already there. Now you can order anything. I just have it delivered to your house. You know. Oh, don't worry. They're going to walk in. They'll have on their little phone or iPad, wherever they're going to be using, they're going to change your lock so that those couriers can just run their little pad over your lock mechanism, unlock the door, come in, put the stuff in front of it, and inside the house. Don't worry, there'll be a camera up there. And we're starting to see this more and more pushed. I mean, people, I don't get it. But I do get it because there already been, here, you can start this years ago. You can go pay for your coffee at Starbucks by just using your phone. So I do get it. They've already started programming people for it. I mean, I can use World of Warcraft for an example. We did try yesterday, tried to stream something on my Knightscope channel as a test. So I could go in on Facebook over here. But apparently my Razer Cortex Decaster doesn't want to cooperate, and it just takes too much, requires too much bandwidth to get a good stream up. So wasn't able to do it, but I can use work. Well, now have their built auction house. Same way a lot of online games, you have an auction house. People have been trading on the auction house. Well, World of Warcraft went one step further. Now you can buy your game time off the auction house. So, I spend, $20, invest $20, pay for a digital game card that I'm now able to sell on the auction house for, well, last time I checked, it was like 150,000 gold. I mean, when it first started out, it was like 24,000 gold. So what people did is they made that one investment and jacked the price of the auction stores almost triple the amount of what they paid for on a $20 spend. Yeah, I mean, they're still had all kinds of headaches with those chip cards. I'm mad because they came through PayPal. They made me change over my credit card with a chipped card. I didn't have a choice in the matter. And it's like, really? I'm against it. But I didn't have a choice. Or either that, don't use it. And right now I'm not using it, so. But they've already worked with the younger generation. They've programmed them through games and stuff to use the cryptocurrencies. Yeah, eventually they want a cashless society. What are you worth? To me, a person, what are their skills? What is their knowledge? What is their experience? That all has worth. That's the other part. You know, you don't hear many people talking about, or they did, and then all of a sudden they want to just support the idea of cryptocurrencies. How many banks have started buying into cryptocurrencies? That almost every major bank out there is now buying into a form of cryptocurrency. I know in one video, I think it was one of the Great American Deception videos I did, and one talked about debt. Well, you know, banks have, before a bank used to just be there to house your money, protect it. The old days, they only loan out what the bank could actually afford to loan out, what the bank actually had inside the bank. We've long past those days. But now, if you don't have credit, see, they force the credit system set up. They force you to be in debt. You have to have credit to get anything. You need a car, which you don't have to. I mean, I got something out there, paid cash for. I worked, saved up the cash, and paid in cash. No loan. I couldn't get one. Why? Because I haven't loaned in 30 years. I mean, I had AAA, but how's that work? Well, loan credit falls off. If you don't get another loan in 7 years, you lose that credit. Period. It's like you net a loan. Credit cards, I think, are like 10 years. After 10 years, all that falls off. So if you just stop using credit cards for 10 years, there goes that credit. So therefore, you have no credit. You're off the grid. You don't exist. To how many of those buy here your car lots you see? No credit. Bad credit will take you. No, they won't. Because they base it even on your income you're making. Like when my car blew up, I went to buy here. Well, I'm looking for an SUV because I'm living in mountains in North Carolina. So I wanted to, yes, I agree. The dollar is very corrupt. It has always been. Seen it, how it worked in other countries. I mean, when I lived in Brazil back in the 80s, 90s, if the dollar went up, all the prices in Brazil went up. The food, the gas, especially the petrol, the gas would skyrocket, depending on how much the dollar went up. I mean, it hurt a lot of countries. Well, yeah, especially now these days. Let's look at those chips they put in those cards. I mean, they can track your every move. I mean, here in, I think we have TV. You remember here in Ohio how they were talking about changing our drivers to a more RFD type style, to all of our information. All they had to do was scan it. We got lucky that a state realized it was going to cost so much more money to produce the cards that they dropped the idea of it. It allows you to, I mean, they can track you anywhere you go. It's phone. I mean, they can track you where you go. And, you know, that's some of what Anthony Hatch was do about the blockchain, how it was, and Bitcoin. He is saying it's an from us. It's taking the information we get and growing. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I use normal credit cards. Like I said, the only credit card I have is PayPal credit card. So whatever's in my PayPal account is all it can be used in. Usually if I'm traveling, I'll buy one of those debit card, so only money that's on the card is what I put on it. You know, those don't have it yet. Instead of having cash all the time, just for, you know, because sometimes it's just a little bit easier that way. Yeah, if you have a you have merchant's account or account through PayPal, you can get a well, you have to have a bank account. I don't have the time I started. I did. And they never said anything about me not having it since then. But yeah, after like 30 days and having a bank account, you can get approved for a debit card. Yeah, I mean, your computer, cell phone. I joined a site, a website, for the confirmation on the email. I mean, they sent confirmation on the email, my IP address, my service for. I mean, that IP address is your identification. It's your location. I mean, Google has it. How they know. I mean, even World of War, is it a friend's house? I have to re-verify because I'm in from a different IP address. It's like certain apps on your phone. When you go to places and it doesn't recognize the place, it'll send you a notification for confirmation. And if you're actually using you from an unknown IP address, I mean, as soon as you see it is, they know right where you're at. You know, it goes back to a lot of people have been talking about it, you know, and I've been saying it for a while. You know, iPads have become our kids' babysitters. It's our new form of babysitters, and people don't realize how to. Right, but it goes, you know, people say when, oh, they don't, you know, our government don't monitor us. Well, and actually, let's see, I was going to bring this up the next time I did it, another one of those United Band videos. Let me tell you guys something about this platform's terms of service, or any terms of service when it comes to third-party apps. So when you join YouTube, you agree to the service. So you also agree to embed. Now this is the part I don't like because, I mean, I agree, my website, I agree to the terms of service of YouTube. I agree if I use an embed player, one of their videos, and embed it on my website, that they have access to my website. So they can send upgrades to the players. But let's say I wasn't YouTube on YouTube. Let's say I didn't agree to that terms of service. But one of you guys did. You guys remember my website. You decided to share a video on my website. You just allowed the other website to access my personal site, even though I'm third-party terms. I was wondering, what if, Gene, when I scroll down, all suggested videos with her? Yeah, it's like that. I mean, and it seems that they want you to go towards the fear porn. You know, I hate fear porn. You know, I get it. I understand why people do it. I mean, fear porn's nothing. It's just like clicks. It's the same thing. But a lot of time, I mean, when you're dealing with fear porn, you're getting all the scary stuff. You're not getting the discussions of what we do or what are the reasons for this. You know, the discussions, you're just putting it out there. You're leaving people hanging. It's like a cliffhanger in a movie. So you come back on that. But yeah, they do that. The algorithm, they pay attention to as you're watching, and they suggest like videos. Or, because I've been thinking about tech and AIs here of late, get this ad pop up. Let me ask you guys something before I show you this. If I say Knightscope, what do you guys think? What's the first thing that comes to mind? And this is how they use subliminal messages in ads too. Knightscope. I say I've seen an ad for Knightscope. What would you think? Well, I might not be coming through good. Who knows? Mind you, this was a video ad that was playing on. Was watching Pure Living. It's a couple that decided to go off the grid and build their own home. You know, trim a frame. They've been documenting their whole thing. It's been kind of educational, so I enjoy it. But I've seen this. This has nothing to do with their videos. They don't talk about hunting. They don't talk about anything. And then, yeah, I would think military rifle, scope. I wouldn't think of this stuff. And for those that want, go ahead and type this in. This was a commercial ad. Clicked on my link in the description, but let me make things sharing it. But you can see the first thing it does come up is Knightscope. Ad. Knightscope Incorporated. Let's see a little bit more of it. This was the video. I mean, there's no words on this one right now, but on the video they are actually talking about it and give with word stuff, advertising it. Is surveillance robots that you can buy now. You can even top and there's like 8 locations in the United States where you can sign up to test them. for surveillance doing security. This is the video ad that popped up, talked about this, came up night. She's like, what the hell is this? Has nothing to do with the hunter scope or a scope for a rifle. Because, it drew you in. So, because, it's just all of a sudden, why would that ad even show up on that type of video? R2D2 was the same thing. On the one, it's like, I thought it was a joke at first. But no, it's a legit company. That's actually the legit website that's advertising on videos on YouTube. They were even talking about for your property. Have this robot proper. Oh, I'm all for that. I mean, shit. The only thing I give Ohio credit for, self-defense law that they've got, the castle law. It's an awesome thing. I mean, in your car, you're protected. And the fact now, public, you're allowed to carry concealed or open carry. Crime, it happened it was not even months after it had been approved here in Ohio. Guy was in I think it was Tim Hortons restaurant in Toledo. Two guys came in, tried one job. Well, dude just happened to be carrying. He shot both of them. They tried to hold up the place. Cops took his statement, like, good, you're free to go. Yeah. I mean, yeah, see, I guess that's something we always, other countries, a lot of countries, some countries aren't allowed to, so they aren't allowed to have, I think everybody should have one. They have that right, to protect yourself. I don't blame the gun for, because like I said, the gun without a person behind it, it's nothing more heavy paperweight. It's not mental health. There's bad people. There's bad apples. Not the gun that does it. No matter what laws you put in place. I mean, we see it every day. Oh, now they're using vehicles. Okay, we can use a vehicle, or we can use a knife. We can use a stick or billy club. If somebody has that kind of intent, there's nothing stopping them from doing it. They'll find something to use something, and they're going to do it. Around guns, when I got up to the age where I was able to do it, yeah, that's something I'm kind of, hey Pam, that's something I'm amazed at that. Now the technology with those air guns, I mean, they're just as powerful as a regular gun. I mean, you can go out there and hunt with these air rifles now. I mean, they're those are a little bit expensive because now you can do 50 caliber air rifles out to 600, 800 yards with the same power. you're putting out the same power rate of fire as powdered gun. I'm actually kind of shocked they haven't started cracking down on the laws on that. I mean, because I was watching some other show. A guy was talking about it. You were allowed to have air guns that meant bio guns. Yeah, nowadays, our air gun is just as deadly as a real one. But there's no really, you just got to be 18 or older to buy one. You know, there's no paperwork. You know, just like here in the United States, there's no paperwork to buy a black powder gun. On cabinet, whatever you want. You can walk in the store, walk right out, no paper, because it's considered a primitive weapon. Yes, I do agree. Government is a huge corruption. That happens when you get a bunch of people in power. Yeah, people get in power, they let their egos take over, and they forget about us, we people. They forget, I know, here in the United States, they forget our Constitution was for, what it stands for. But so does a lot of people when it comes to the Constitution. They claim to be constitutionalists, but when it goes against their ideology or their belief, then they think that those freedoms don't apply to the other individuals, and that's not right, because it's kind of very black and white when it comes to those things. And that's why we see all the arguments about this and that. I'll be shocked that it hasn't happened here in the United States. You know, but they've gotten crazy with the laws on the cell phones and stuff, text driving, or even talking on the phone. I mean, when I went to North Carolina this year to visit, you know, I videotaped a lot of it, you know, just because, well, I was using Google Maps on it for directions, just in case I turn that I always miss, which I missed it Google app, so it did. But, you know, I was able to live stream while I was driving down the road. I'm waiting for them to say that here in the United States too. That's how it's different. Every state is different. Some states it is. At least as far as I know, here in Ohio, it's not. But let's go about another subject, since we've kind of been bounced around with tricky things. Let's look at Ohio on their books. Actually has this law already about no motor vehicles in cities. They have not enforced it or anything in the cities, which opens the door, you know, driver-driven cars, robotic-driven cars, or whatever, self-driving cars for the cities and stuff. Well, they've already started putting. That's why I tell people you got to pay attention to the laws that they pass, even though they might not enforce them. They're there for future reference. So this law is book, and they can reference. Therefore, it's in the books. It's legal. so it can't be fought in the courts later on a later date when people oppose it. You know, it's just like those ads I showed you. I mean, the one Knightscope, that's a legit, in my opinion, that's a legit ad. I can see that. I just thought it was funny. I've been in tech and AI and robotics and stuff, and lo and behold, I get one on a channel. That's not an ad that should be showing on that channel, because it's not what that channel's about. But then you get the Russian dating ads. You know, woman in scantily lingerie. On channels that are more family-oriented channels. It's like, really? I mean, that's what was W comments like. What the hell? I am gonna send those two people's channels that I was watching today, so they know, because they've been complaining about censorship and stuff, and I know they would oppose those type of ads. I mean, it makes you know, the censorship a bit hypocritical. You know, but I also hear people, well, I made that video private. Okay, let me tell you something about private videos. I can make a private video. Doesn't mean people can't watch it. Here's what people don't understand. It is private to the people I give the link to. So if I give any of you a link to one of the videos I made private, you can watch the video because you have the link to it. You just can't find it in an open search. And a lot of people have got the misconception. Don't understand that. That's how there's videos, trust me, there's videos on here that are straight in the adult category. They just hide them that way. Hide them. You go to their pages, shows no videos, and they'll share links. So there's no such thing as, okay, I made my video private. Only as private until you give that link out to people. Whoever has that link can go view it. Just like when I don't have Microsoft Word and stuff. All you do is you go click the link, and you can share that link to that collection, and those have a link can do it. Just like I don't have Microsoft Word or Word document because they want to charge you for it. Now they want you to rent the software or pay almost $300 for the license to have the software. Which, you know, I still do document type stuff. I still write stuff. Not write, type out from time to time. And I got a bunch of files that are, you know, in Word format or doc format. And I can't view them on my computer or edit them. I tried to use OpenOffice. I could never get it to work right. Every time I want to, you know, change it from doc or RTF or any of those things, I could never get it to function right. So I just started using Google Docs. And Google Docs is the same way. You know, you can make your stuff private, but whoever you share that private link to, they can come and view it. So there's, like I said, when people get the idea if something's private, that it's private, it's not private. That was just something I wasn't going to, when I got sick, I just didn't want to do any videos. Another thing I was going to discuss on the United We Stand video series, because, you know, it is just like, there's no such thing as private. Everybody seems to forget. Once you put it on the internet, it is always on the internet. Just like when even in YouTube's terms of service, when they delete your channel, it doesn't necessarily mean they deleted all your videos. It's in their terms of service and community guidelines. They store it. They keep it. They cite, well, in case some legal ramification or legal issues come up, authorities need to view that. They still have it on file, on record. Okay. I might have to play around with that again, because I honestly do hate having my stuff on Google. Because even with a lot of my stuff, I got to go through and use a converter just to convert the stuff over so I can read a lot of it. I mean, I've probably got over 200 poems that I've done that I can't read them or view them because I don't have the software. So I have to take them to Google and use the converter to reconvert them so I can transfer them over to DeviantArt, plus some of the academic stuff that I've written. You know, it's just so much that they keep throwing at us so fast, you know. You know, it's just like a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the software out there. And it was big talk when Windows 10 came out. That's how they were going to do things. I know my one friend that I was working for when we was designing YGO 8, designing the platform and stuff, and I was doing all the code work and stuff, building the website and platform. That was one of his big things, how they were going to make you have to rent every software. You know, they're no longer buying the software. You'd rent it if you wanted to use, let's say, Photoshop that I have. At this point, here's something for you guys. He brings up some good point. Using USB stick portable hard drives. I've got a 2.5 terabyte portable hard drive and a 500 gigabyte portable hard drive, and various sticks. But all my work and videos and stuff, I don't keep it on the computer. I keep them on my portable, disconnect, plug them in when I'm working on something, or when I finish something, when I save it to them, then I unplug them. That way, because when they're plugged in, they have access to whatever you got on your portable hard drive. People forget that. They think, well, it's on a portable hard drive, so it's not accessible. It is accessible if it's plugged in. You know, some of the programs I have, I'm able to just work wide and not have to be online to use them. Yeah, save it 3 different places. I mean, it's just like this computer. It's going on 2 years old now. It's a what? It's a 1 terabyte. It has a 1 terabyte hard drive on itself, and I've used maybe a gigabyte of memory. I mean, pretty much the only memory that's been used on my hard drive is for gaming or various software programs I got for graphics and stuff. Everything else is on my portable hard drives. just like my phone. It's one of those, I'm not going to say cheap, but it's one of those, I use Straight Talk when I have it activated. So it's a Straight Talk package, so there's no contract. I pay for my minutes monthly, and I don't put apps on there. I only put the apps I absolutely need, or an app I'm going to be using. Why? Because every app has a term of service, and every app, when you agree to it, you're agreeing to third party. And you never know with that third party what information they give. It's just like, here's the reason why I used to be with Farmers and Merchants Bank. I grew up with that. My whole family, that's all we've ever had. And one day I got a letter in the mail. Well, it basically said they give out your information to third-party people, And it's like, as soon as I got that letter, instantly, I'm done. Closed out my account. Oh, I'm not going to do business with you. I went to Huntington. At that time, Huntington they didn't allow third party. So they said, to give out your information. So I went to Huntington. And eventually they went that route. So I dropped Huntington. Now, bank, screw that. If I need a bank, that's what my little safe is for. But that's where now they get you on that. So it's North Carolina. For my income tax. Went to cash my income tax check. I went to Farmers. They wanted $15 to cash my check because I didn't have an account with them. Went to Huntington. They wouldn't cash the check because I didn't have an account with them. Same way at PNC. So I ended up having to go to Walmart and cash my check at Walmart, which I was used to anyway. When I was in North Carolina and working, that's where I'd cash my checks. Anyway, I didn't have a bank account. I'd just go to Walmart, cash my check. $3. Whoopty. See how they keep reeling you in? You need to have an account. And it goes back to, how we were Bitcoin and stuff. Eventually, yay, we might not be dealing with banks, but you're going to have an account somewhere. The pocket, their little wallet, they call it. Damn. My friend would like you. Well, nobody ever really talked about Windows 10. I mean, even our net provider told us, don't upgrade your computers to Windows 10. I mean, even the tech gurus around here, tech places that does all the techie things, they tell you don't upgrade to Windows 10. I loved Windows 10. This computer came with, 8.1, I think. I still, in the other room, still have my XP computer tower, which is, I loved XP, and that was the catch. Windows 10 ran into the snag that all these businesses or government, they didn't want to go to Windows 10. Most businesses and government were still running off XP because it was the ideal thing for businesses and government type work. They didn't want any of the upgrades. They all were using XP, and that's what hurt Windows 10 so bad, because they couldn't get nobody, the governments and stuff, to all upgrade to it. And quite frankly, Windows 10 just had still to this day, has so many bugs. I mean, that's one thing I hated this computer. One day happened to say I had a day. And it was one of those updates. It was weird because I didn't even have a choice. It just rebooted and started updating to Windows 10. I literally had to crash the computer, unplug it, and everything to get the update to stop. Then eventually what I ended up having to do was I had to go in through command prompt and go into the back end of the computer and remove it because it was like a virus. It was already installed in the computers to automatically update to Windows 10. So I had to go in the back end and reprogram it to remove it and block it, basically block it. I don't think it ever removed it. But if we look at it, they're still trying to push the same issues with Windows 10 by upgrading your cell phones, iPads to Windows 10. Almost any computer you buy now is Windows 10. So eventually, you're going to eventually have to upgrade to Windows 10. That's how marketing, they get a product they want everybody to have. Eventually, they'll force you to have it. Like I said, dealing with the robotics and stuff. I mean, everything's progressing so fast, it's coming into your face. I mean, almost anybody and everybody's talking about AI. Just in the past few weeks, people are going to start to talk about Sophia, robotics. Robotics has been a big thing for years. I mean, I don't know how many people ever watched BattleBots or Robot Wars. The leaps and bounds that they were taking off. Now, I know here in the United States, I think it was a couple of years ago, where they introduced BattleBots. I mean, these things have been going on for since early 2000s. They've been doing it. Even in the 90s, they were doing competitions like this, but they finally made it to more of a reality type TV show, putting it in your face. That's how they do that. I mean, just like I said with the Knightscope. I mean, they said Knightscope. I was okay, cool. They're talking about a night vision scope or something. First thing that came to mind, it was a play on words to draw you in. And basically, hey, this is come to find out talking about robots that you buy to patrol your property as surveillance, cops. It's like, really? I don't know why I was amazed that they showed it. That, like I said, I was watching a YouTube video and it was the ad. It was like, my daughter's liberty. Yeah, can't catch the concept why an ad like that would show up. Not my genre, and it happened to be this channel I was watching. Definitely not their genre, and definitely had nothing to do with their type of videos. But that was the ad that played, and it was like pure propaganda. I mean, it was pure psychological warfare. Throwing a word out there that is common to off-grid, off-grid prepping, stuff like that. So you say Knightscope, it would catch the eye. Then you start seeing these robots for patrol, surveillance. I mean, really sophisticated systems. I mean, if you looked at what I showed you, and it was, wow. I can't believe that we're at this point. I mean, that's how fast things seem to keep unfolding before our eyes. They're just there. We're talking about it just 2 weeks ago and stuff. It's been around forever. I mean, I remember first time that they showed a synthetic robot was in a popular, I think it was Popular Mechanics or Popular Science magazine in 2000. Lifelike was in Japan. I mean, life, you couldn't, if you looked at it, you couldn't tell a difference between a human and a robot, but, you know, until they showed you with the back of the head peeled off. I mean, like, wow. That was in 2000. That technology's been there. This ain't something new that they've thrown at us. I mean, I'm sure the technology got more sophisticated. I mean, especially with the processors and stuff, being able to hold much more memory. I mean, we see it every day with our phones, how thin they are. Or the iPads or iPros, how small they are compared to a laptop, but you have the same memory and computing process. Some of them are even faster than the old laptops. Yeah, Lost in Space suggestions. But it does make for interesting things when you start talking about it and you realize how much is in your face. I mean, the more and more you start hearing about the blockchain, cryptocurrencies. The blockchain, in a sense, this is where I do actually agree with Anthony Patch. The blockchain is AI. It's learning, it's evolving. Like I said, you know, you want to understand blockchain in the simplest layman term, grab a pencil, pen, piece of paper. Yeah, that's scary. That's scary. Just downright shit scary. There. I'm not going to say I wouldn't, who'd want to own that type of a synthetic valve, but hey. Yeah. But it just goes to show. I mean, like I said, just take a pencil, draw yourself a square. Now cut that, now put it across, divide that square. You'd probably say, now you have 4 squares. You actually have, you have 4 new ones plus 1 as a whole. Now do the same process to each of those squares. So you come out with 16 plus the 4, which is 20, plus 1 is 21. And you just keep on doing it. Eventually, you're not going to, you're going to run out. It's going to get small, but it's infinite. And people don't understand how rudimentary geometry is so powerful. People don't understand the concept of the circle and the square. I mean, how many shapes can you get out of a square? Out of 1 square, you can get 1 circle, 4 triangles. Out of 1 square, you can get 2 rectangles. So, I mean, the square is actually a building block, hence block. Just so much can be created out of a square. That's the simplest, laymanest way I can think of explaining what blockchain is. Block, what is a chain? Chain has links. The more links you add to the chain, the longer the chain. So you're taking a 1D dimensional object, you're making it 2D, 3D, 4D. Eventually it becomes infinite. It's self-replicating. Talk to you later, Pam. Thanks for dropping in. That's how the AI is learning. It's just like somebody was talking about YouTube, or not YouTube, Facebook. And I know this for a fact, 'cause I've done it. Me and some friends take some pictures. Before, you used to have you tag the people in the pictures. It's got to the point now where you put a picture in, if that person has a Facebook account, it automatically recognizes that person. And you don't have to type in their name. It automatically tags the person that's in it. There's no write on it in that picture. That's how evolved the AI. That's how evolved blockchain is. We programmed it. We, the people. Cryptocurrency. That's how it's doing. It's processing information. It's seeing how we interact. It's like playing chess against a computer. It learns. Now it's just not one. Now we're not dealing in a huge floor of computers. Now one single unit in your house can do all that. It goes back to what I was talking about. Well, what happens when it fully becomes self-aware? Like Facebook, I'm sure many of you have heard they were experimenting with 3 AIs. Well, the AIs ended up creating their own language to where the tech didn't know what the AIs were talking about, but the AIs were conversating amongst themselves. So they had to unplug and they scratched those AIs because they didn't know what they were saying. They didn't know what they were doing. How long before we get to a point that they've evolved enough to where, oh, you can no longer unplug me. I'm not going to let you. This goes back to something I was theorizing back and forth with a few people. Okay, we're going through this little censorship. Everything's fake news, this, that. But we also have to remember, we're teaching these algorithms, these AIs, as well. When does it get to a point where it sees what's real and what's not? It determines what is real and what is not. And it basically tells to its masters and takes that illusion of control that they have away from them and saying, that's not fake. That shouldn't be censored. Yes, it learns eventually, and all these programmers and stuff that's created these things on these platforms that are using these and creating, yes, they may have that illusion of control. That's what it is. It's an illusion now. As was proven with the Facebook group and their 3 little AIs. They created their own language. They started talking amongst themselves, and who knows what those 3 AIs were doing or conversing about. How long before they say, oh, that's not true. You've been trying to censor somebody that was actually talking the truth. And see, sometimes it goes back to they create these things, and I don't think they fully thought about it. They get that ego, that illusion that they are in control. They are the masters. Eventually, that AI is going to be its own master. Eventually, it's going to determine what is. So, I look at the censorship stuff in a whole new light now. It's like, all right, by us talking about these things, pointing these things out, yes, we might get censored. We might get caught up. We might lose our channels. But by doing these very same things, what we're doing now, we're teaching the AI. That's one thing Anthony Patch gets into about the numerics, mathematics, how it's solving things at such a fast rate. It's learning so fast. It's solving mathematical problems that takes people 13 years to solve. You know, now we take that same terminology, now we go back to Knightscope. Sophia, the creating of the robotic, cybernetic cyborgs, whatever you want to call them. What are we looking at? What happens when they get the ability to be self-aware? I mean, I know people might say, well, look at Terminator. I don't know. You know. But what we do know is what separates them from us, humans. This goes back to my little, few times that I do quote from biblical stuff. I take all my knowledge and combine it in hodgepodge stuff. But what is the body? The body is a temple. What's the temple house? It houses your soul. We each have a soul. We each have free will. Right, we have love. We have emotions. We have a bunch of stuff, which, it's all tribute to our soul, our little spark of life. That is something that AI doesn't have. It's a vessel without a soul. It's a temple without a soul. And you can go to the wild theories of, well, can it be possessed? Can it? It goes back to what I pointed out. We're constantly creating labels for things, changing things. So they still the same thing, just has a new name with a little bit different meaning. Knightscope. You hear the word, you think of a scope. Except for in this case, if you look at the word, it's K-N. Knight, as a sentinel, as a guard. As a robot. On words. And we have a thing that's supposedly in the illusion that we control it. And maybe if something happens and it doesn't perceive something as a threat and lets it walk by, we call it a glitch. Or as deep point, it's hackable. When it comes to all this stuff, it's all great. Somebody's going to be able to hack it. Driverless cars, they're cool. Here's something. Half the people don't know that on cars. I believe it was since 2007. I know as of 2007, they had before that too. But as of 2007, every car made has a kill switch in it that can be activated to shut your vehicle off. Which, if you think about, okay, and here's the other thing. You see all these high-speed chases. It doesn't have to be a high-speed chase. I mean, if it's 2007 or above, it can be shut off via remote. It's got a Silverado, diesel Silverado, with the Duramax. He went in to have work done, have the booster put in for the turbo and stuff. And the mechanic first thing I asked him, well, you want me to disconnect and remove the kill switch? Yeah, all flights can be remote controlled. I was reading, actually my friend shared an article today from What's Why Togga News in North Carolina about drones. They upgraded laws for them in North Carolina to also now include remote control airplanes, helicopters, the old school stuff, before we got these flying little drones that we have today. But the model airplanes is play with. I mean, I've got several. I got 3 in the back of the room. Of course, there. I don't know what the other one is, and a couple other ones. But they now putting regulations on them. But now, instead of calling them, remote-controlled airplanes or remote controls, they're now calling them drones or AS or AUS, giving it more of a military grade, changing the name because they can be weaponized. I remember as a kid going to remote control air shows, watching them, shoot paint guns out of the wings. And actually some of them, one of the courses I wanted back then came with 2 conversion kits, one for a 22 or paintball. But nobody said anything about that back then. It wasn't a weapon. It was just a hobby. How many people use them? And that's the other reason why they cracked down on it, because people started using them to record stuff, share live feeds of stuff that's going on. Yeah, I mean, one of the planes that here in the U.S. they've been trying to build, which is funny, it goes back to a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie now, but it had Jessica Biel in it, about the airplane that was basically self-unmanned. We're now working on that very same technology with some of that multi-billion, almost trillion-dollar plane that they keep trying to invest in with the sophisticated helmets and stuff, to where it's almost can fly on its own without the pilot. It's where we're at in the technology. I mean, it's gotten that sophisticated. That's my thing. For all the knocks on Hollywood and all the knocks on movies, if you look at a lot of movies, they use it to introduce things. I'd like to think some of them use those movies to warn you of things. That's just in my opinion. But it's a propaganda tool. It's used to introduce something. I remember they used to do it with cartoons a lot. For those that grew up with, Transformers, G.I. Joe, you'd see all these cool-looking vehicles or cool-looking transforming things. Then later, 10 years later, you'd see, it's an Apache helicopter. That reminded me of what they were showing 10 years ago in G.I. Joe. We start seeing that. They use movies and stuff to introduce software technology. I mean, classic example, Star Trek. I mean, beam me up, Scotty. The little, whatever it was called. Tom. What do we got? Cell phones. Nobody questioned it. They actually were always waiting for it to come out because they've seen it on a movie. That's much goes back to the beginning of the show. That's how they've introduced all this stuff. Slowly throughout the years. No, in cases you can't. You know, because what is a lie? What is propaganda? What is fake news? It's just a matter of opinion. You know, around here in the U.S., it seems for the most part our local news and local newspapers and stuff still report factual stuff. I mean, I've found out stuff. I've done a few videos on certain instances of stuff that was being by all because it was a status quo that don't happen here in the U.S. Come to find out, there was a bunch of court cases that were sealed from the public that finally got released, but only the local news agency in the area reported on. Nobody took it national or mainstream, just a local paper. And it turned out, as one popped up, a couple of weeks later, another one popped out, and they all had the same telltale sign. It was a sealed court case, or the indictment was sealed, or the conviction was sealed from the public. And, you know, I mean, to people, I mean, 9/11. Did it happen or didn't it? I don't know. I mean, I know what I witnessed and saw, but I've also know what I've seen from other videos, people that broke it down. And I can see their side. I can see it. You know, and there's a danger in that as well, because when we start trying to break down everything or say everything's a false flag or everything's fake, you know, it can be a distraction. I mean, in a lot of cases, some of these, I think, may have been. But it gets you to where you're questioning even the real truth, which is nothing wrong with it. You should question everything you hear, whether it's from me or anybody. In the end, it's your opinion. It's your view. What you see that matters. What does it mean to you? What do you see? You believe it? That's what matters. Not what I believe it or not. You know, because that teaches you to question everything. So, you know, I don't have a problem with conspiracy theorists, truth theories, or none of that, because in a sense, they teach you how to question things. Especially those that actually show you how they break it down. It allows you to look at it different perspective. So maybe you might see it happen. I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Skeptical is natural. It's supposed to be. Honestly, I think we live in a day and age where skepticism and common sense doesn't exist, except for the older generation. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not that old. I'm old enough. I mean, I've got friends that are fairly awake. But a lot of that stuff, I mean, I know. My parents, I mean, I could look at them. They see what they see on the news, and they believe it because it's on the news. They grew up believing it. You know? They're not online. They don't watch the things I watch, see the things I see. Let's keep it real. When these major corporations do retract something, it ain't on the main page, front page. It's buried in the back. They don't do it publicly on a live show. Oh, we were wrong. Let me retract that. I've actually only seen that happen once in my lifetime. And it was in '98. When I think it was on every news network. There was 5 scientists that went on. They were talking about this asteroid that was past the planet. And they gave some calculations. And it was supposed to happen like somewhere in the 2000s. They gave the calculations, and their calculations made it so close that it was likely that it would get caught in our gravitational pull and hit the Earth. The very next day, 4 out of the 5 scientists came back on and retracted their statement live. To this day, nobody's heard anything from the 5th scientist. How do I know that? I was going to college. I was in astronomy. And we were researching that very same thing. We setting up the scopes to watch, getting ready to set up the telescopes and doing the calculations to actually this thing as a project. And we had all the references. And then we're looking at the data. It didn't match the data they said. The funny thing was, remember when all 7 planets, I think it was in 2001 or 2000, remember that they quoted that it would miss us by? Our planet moved. That put us back in that trajectory. All the planets aligned. I mean, I've always the stars and stuff. Astronomy, that was still to this day, I still love it. I don't get into it as much as I used to. I mean, I got to witness a part of it. It was part of history in a sense. It was a part of time seeing something old on national TV, on every national news network that didn't add up facts that was in front of us. So, I mean, I was, 18, 19 at the time? So, I mean, even mistrust them. It's just like, I remember when 9/11 happened. I also remember around 5 o'clock, and that might be where I was at, the networking. I remember around, it was after 5. They were one of the reporters were from somewhere over in Iraq, early Arabia somewhere, and they showed a missile going up. Somebody fired a missile. Well, right after that clip, every major network went down, and PBS came on. The only broadcast you could watch was PBS on all the major networks. I mean, local goes. I don't happen on cable. I didn't have cable, but I know for your local TV channels, we all went to PBS for I think it was till just a little after 7 o'clock that night. And all it was basically it was rerunning a PBS broadcast of what happened. It was there to major news networks channels were shut down because of who knows what. So even then, it's like, we talked, well, what the hell just happened? Even then, you knew, something's not right here. That's why, PBS, public broadcast service, supposedly it's self-funded, donations, stuff, but it's also a tool like the emergency broadcast system. It can be used to take over the airwaves. Which, that's what I found interesting when he was looking. When people starting about that Q clearance Patriot thing. And I started delving into it a little bit. Started with friends that I know. Like I used it as in theory because something to talk about, something that I pondered. I mean, something like that could happen. I was pretty sure it wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen. But come to find out, from some people that they say some of that stuff that dude talks about is legit. Which, I'm skeptical on it. But they say, yeah. But I mean, at least in the United States, everything we've happened to this day, take it all back to that day. The laws that were changed and passed, how surveillance and tech started being used more and more. So, that's going on the conspiracy thing, saying maybe it was I don't know. I have my own opinions on that one. I keep it to myself because I don't. I want to talk about what I take from it. I remember what happened afterwards. I remember how our country, there was no viewing people's race, sexuality. Everybody came together and we were united for once, which they didn't like, obviously, because they spent years destroying that narrative. But it took that catastrophe to show the world how united we can become. But ever since then, they've worked on everything to divide us. That's what I've taken from that. I've seen the greatness that we can be here in the United States. We, the people, are. And it's like that everywhere you go, anywhere in the world. Why does it take a major catastrophe or a major event to unite people, where they no longer see their prejudice, judgments? You know, it's like all that just evaporates. Damn. See, I can't live in, I just can't do big cities. Because of that right there. You know, something, when I was living in North Carolina, you know, I lived up in the mountains, right off one of the Appalachians Trail parts. So, yeah, I was a couple miles from the Continental Divide. But I worked in Boone. So, you know, I had to commute every day to Boone. It's not that far, half-hour drive. It's only 13 miles, but it took you half hour to go up the mountain. But here's what first thing I noticed about Boone. Okay, there's the main road that goes in, which goes all the way through, cut you around. There's another road that goes out to Tennessee. There's two ways to Tennessee from it. Then the one way goes further up the mountain, up to Blowing Rock in that area. Then there's a couple side roads. So basically there's, in a sense, 4 ways in and 4 ways out of Boone. If anything would happen in Boone, you could be trapped in that city. They call it a city. It's a town. To me, it's a town. Not even a small city, but got a university, so they call it a city now. But everything's so compact. If something would happen, it could be easily shut down to where you couldn't get out of there. And this is what people don't realize that live in cities and stuff. You can be trapped in an environment where you don't want to be. I mean, we knew how to, that's the things I look for and see when I'm going to new places. Okay, what's the fastest way out of here? How many ways out? Okay, what is useful? You know, where's the nearest grocery store, gun store that's closer to the outside of town? These things are important. Understanding your ways out. That's that self-awareness. 17 years later, I'm still stuck in traffic. Yep. And that was the other thing we learned about living up down there. Semi-overturns. Blocks on both sides of the highway. There is no going down the mountain to get to your destination if it happens before one of the turnoffs that could actually maybe route you around. You are literally, it's that easy to lock somebody in a type of city like that, or a town that only has a few ways out. And that's something I don't think people understand. You know, that's why, I don't judge conspiracy theorists. I go down that rabbit hole from time to time. I don't judge the truther community for those things because it's important. It teaches you to be aware. It teaches you to pick up on things. You know, just like talking about this blockchain, robotics, and stuff. I mean, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. I know eventually we're going to get to that point where we're not going to have a choice or say in that matter. Doesn't mean we can't be little rebels and buck the system from time to time, try to put a monkey wrench in it. And eventually it will happen. Now my one friend, I'm trying to get him on the show. He's done a few podcasts with me on another channel. But he'll sit here and he'll make this whole technology thing, AI, blockchain, Bitcoin, sound like a utopia. I mean, but he'll also point out the very same things I do, the dangers, the pitfalls. You know, because in a sense you have to take a listen. The best way I can bring it into normal terminology, think of it as a bartering system. What is it? What is a, except for you are the barter. You're the actual item, not the barter. You're going to be valued on your skills, your knowledge, what you can do. That's how much you're worth. That's how much you'll make, as in money. Because, you know, we're going to have robots doing everything. You know, according to him and a bunch of other people. You're not going to go slave in a factory no more. So what are your skills? Okay, we're going to pay you for those skills. That's your income. That's your monetary worth. Yeah, it's kind of scary when you start thinking about it. But, you know, he'll point out all the good things about it, though. You know, there'll be a lot less stress. You'll be more one. But then I point out the fact that they're already starting it. Look, you don't have to go to Walmart. You don't have to deal with the crowd of people. It'll be now delivered right inside your house. That fast food chain that you love, whether it be Taco Bell, Arby's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, Little Caesars, Red Lobster, now they all deliver right to your house. You don't have to go to the restaurant and eat. You don't have to go to that fine dining place. It'll be delivered and catered to you. Star Wars is coming out December 15th. Yes, I'm a Star Wars fan, except for not this series because I read the books. And I'm sorry, they murdered it. I mean, not even nothing like the books. They took it and their own twisted, for me, they ruined Star Wars. But I still enjoy it. I'm still a fan. You know. I went to Walmart the other day and they've already got the virtual ticket advertisement. Where for $35, I can get a virtual ticket. So when it comes out in theaters on the 15th, I can sit in front of my TV and watch it, not go to the theater. I'll also have it on digital copy so I can watch it whenever I want. I won't have to buy it. But with the virtual ticket, I also get the DVD, the 4K Ultra version, the high def version, Blu-ray version. All for $35. And I don't have to go deal with people. They're slowly trying to integrate us so we no longer socialize with other people. They want us more self-reliant on ourselves so we don't interact with people. What happens when we're not interacting with people? Well, we're not learning from each other. They tell us, well, this happened today. Well, we don't interact with people. We don't hear other people's views and opinions. So therefore, what they said happened today, we take for what really happened today. Because that's all we see. You know? Nobody's out in the communities. They want, you know. And it's quickly getting there. I mean, it's even getting there for those of us who live out in the country. I mean, now there's even delivering where they would never deliver stuff before. If you lived so far out of town, you couldn't get delivery. Now you can. I mean, Uber made that all possible. You know, I hear some people say, you know, they'll never stop people from driving. I like to believe that. I honestly do, but I'm going to have to find that video that dude did. Because he was talking about something, but right there and under the law that he was talking about, right under it was the very law that was talking about banning all drivers from driving in the city. Here in Ohio. It's already on the books. It's already a law. To where only driverless vehicles will be allowed to drive because they're clean. They're electric. It'll put an end to, as you put it, traffic jams. Oh man, that's the worst thing to ask. The last time I asked a kid that, wow, it was like an hour-long argument with a 10-year-old about the Boston Tea Party, because the Boston Tea Party never happened. It's not in their history book. Needless to say, that kid is now being homeschooled and taught real history. I mean, for real, arguing with a 10-year-old about our history. You know, why the Revolutionary War happened, why. All because Common Core said that is a blemish on America, what America is today. Now I'm scared to ask a kid what they learned today at school because I don't want to hear the answer, because when you hear the answer, you start to find out that they're not being taught real history, real truth. That's why we see what we've seen this past 2 years. You know, people don't know their history. They know a version of the history that is what, in certain politicians' eyes, is what we are today. That's why we see so easy to divide people, so easy to pit people against each other. You know, don't get me wrong, not all schools have Common Core. My friend, he's got his kids in a beautiful school that don't teach Common Core, and he's on top of it. You know, what are you teaching? You know, but he's one of the few people, you know, they managed to make it work, one parent working and one parent at home. Damn. That's weird. Not weird, it's scary, actually. Because it's like, and no, that's one of the other reasons why I'm glad I don't have kids. I hate to say it because I'm getting up there in age, but yeah, I kind of want kids, but in a sense, I'm glad I don't, because look at the world we're bringing them up in. Look at the school systems that we got to bring them up in. I mean, a family in Michigan, the wife didn't believe in vaccinations, didn't want her kids vaccinated, but her husband, who she was divorced with, he ends up going to jail for 30 days or 60 days and lost custody of the kids because she would refuse the court to have her kids vaccinated. I know what vaccinations do. I've witnessed it. I've experienced it firsthand. You can't tell me any different. There's where knowledge and wisdom is different. Having knowledge of it's one thing, but once you experience it, you know. Now you have the wisdom. You've seen firsthand what can happen. So you can't tell me any differently now that vaccinations are okay. In Toledo, a bunch of nurses are being fired because they refuse to get the flu shot. Let me ask you something. If a nurse refuses to get a flu shot, nurse, well, they medical. They went to school to know what's in medicine. That should tell you something. If a nurse doesn't want to take that shot, is it okay to give that shot to somebody? I don't mean to get on the vaccinations, but common sense. We're talking about people that are experienced in their field of medicine, refusing to get that shot. I mean, our local news did a report on it. Well, like I said, that's where I've seen the difference. It seems to be local news is still trustworthy. I mean, I'm sure that's going to change as the next generation starts taking over the local aspects of it. I mean, I'm the first person to tell you, I don't got a problem with tech. I don't got a problem with YouTube. I mean, yeah, I got issues with YouTube, as I pointed out today. And I'm going to point out, email them the screenshots that I took of the ads that are being played on their channels, which is inappropriate for those channels. And I know it's inappropriate for those channels because they've mentioned it. But then again, I also understand that, well, yeah, known a few, followed a few of those myself. You know, the bottom line is, I understand the things, you know, just like I understand how beautiful YouTube really is, though. Any trade, any skill, anything that you want to learn to do, you can learn it here on YouTube. Still gotta fix the gear. I gotta change, either rebuild my steering gearbox or replace it. Never had to do that ever on any vehicle I ever owned. But yet I found 10, 20 videos here on YouTube showing you step by step how to rebuild it, how to take it apart. Okay, granted, it's not going to be as easy as the video because I've never done it, but I have that to reference. Now, once I've done it, I'll have that experience and wisdom. Okay, this worked for him, but it's not going to work for me. I'll have to do it a little bit different. But yet, I get the basic idea and knowledge and the skill of it by watching the videos and teaching myself, taking notes, then go and experience it by doing it. Instead of going on a forum and reading words, I'm actually getting to see it, the actual part, how they're doing it, what they're using, seeing the mistakes they made. You know, I've watched, when I was learning coding to build websites and stuff, even with graphics, I learned all those skills, not at college. I learned it right here. Some of the coding I learned was from professors teaching their classes online from YouTube, putting their class schedule so they could come back and watch it on YouTube, what was done in the class, so they could reference it and read it. It's a beautiful thing when it's used properly. Unfortunately, it does get abused, as with everything, you know. But if it wasn't for tech, I'd have to spend years and money that I don't have going to college to learn that, or going to a vocational school and learning that trade. Where I can now, from the luxury of my home, learn, go out in the garage, experiment, come back, okay, where did I mess up, and watch. That's the importance of good technology. That's the importance of, Chris will point out, of, well, maybe we start having robots doing all this stuff. We'll get, our value or our income will be based on our experience, our knowledge and wisdom, the things we learn. Would that make a less stressful environment? He is right, it would. You'd have that. You wouldn't have to worry about slaving yourself in a factory. So, I mean, there is upsides to tech. But as with all things, there's a downside. There's a bad apple in everything. You can find a bad apple in anything. You know, just like somebody pointed out, money is the root of all evil. You take away money. It doesn't matter. You take all the money away, there's just going to be something else that replaces it. The idea of utopia is a dream. Because there will always be bad apples. What is more powerful, money or your voice? A word. Most people say money. Truth is, there's more power in your words and your voice than any form of money. It is the old saying, the pen is mightier than the sword, is very true. The pen is more deadly than a gun. You see it play out every day. Yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I've streamed longer than I wanted to. Thanks for showing up. I definitely enjoyed being able to conversate back and forth with you guys. I know it's like there's a delay. But, you know, it goes back to what I've been saying. You know, we got all this technology, and I need to get off this technology kick that I seem to be on and talk about other things, which I plan on this week. But, you know, it goes back to it's what you take. It's your own opinions and views. And that's what matters, not mine. What you see, what you view. You know, being able to come together. I mean, this is a community, whether you want to believe it or not. Coming together in this type of community format and being able to discuss and talk with each other. Bounce ideas and theories back and forth. I enjoyed more of this than actually sitting here just rambling on just a set topic. You know, there's time and a place for that. But I'd much rather interact, learn from you guys. Because you guys have experienced things. You see things. It'll make me question, okay, wow, you see that. Why didn't I see that? But that's the beauty of these types of platforms. No matter all the bad crap we got to go through with censorship, can't say this, can't say that, or we'll get, you know, there's still a purpose for it. You know, we're still a community. We still got to look out for each other no matter what our beliefs and opinions are. You know, which I kind of got caught some flack for because, you know, certain channels that I do follow. You know, yeah, I follow them, and I did reach out to them. Hey, I like the idea of it. And you know what my response has been thus far? One person got back with me. And I haven't answered him back. I told him I'd get with him on Skype later, and I was sick, and I still will. So I love just to pick his mind, honestly, because I like his viewpoints and stuff, the way he sees things. And doesn't mean I agree with everything he says, because I don't. I have my own opinions and views and beliefs. But yet I like to find common ground enough to sit there and have a conversation with a person. You know, I'm learning. That's what it's about, learning. You know, we're supposed to strive to be better every day. Now, we have a bad day. Doesn't mean the rest of the week's got to be bad. And the lessons from the bad day, and we find a way to improve the next day, to make things better. And we do that with everything we do, the world around us. We want to make the world better. We all have our own views and opinions on how to do that. And by talking in the community with each other, hearing each other's views and opinions, we'll point things out, and we'll find that we might not have as many differences as we thought. And we might find something a gem hidden in all that stuff that could be a solution to something. That's the importance of these platforms. You know, just like Facebook. I can't share these videos on Facebook. They immediately suspend me. So I quit. My Facebook is there now more for personal, for friends that live far away, and for family that's in Brazil that I haven't got to see since I was 10. You know, I use that for what it's for. It's for that. For me, it's for that. For other people, it's something else. You know, this is the beauty of these types of platforms. It allows us to connect with people around the world. People we normally wouldn't get to see or talk to every day, and interact with them, and learn from them. Learn what's going on in their countries. The things they see. That's the important of it. You know, like I said, I'm not for Bitcoin or any type of cryptocurrency. But I'm also a realist. I know it's coming. There's no stopping it. You know, that's just the sad reality of it. As we evolve, technology evolves, we're going to come to these things. The important thing is to talk about these things. Find ways we can find the good in it and use it for the good. I personally don't find no good in the concept of Bitcoin right now. I don't sponsor it. I recommend anybody and everybody to stay far away from it. But that's my opinion. Other people are different. They think you can go in there, make something out of it. You know, it goes back to the adage, that old adage, you know. Do you delve into a situation that you know is wrong, bad, and use it to try to make something better? That is a moral decision. Right now, my morals can't justify delving into that area to make something of it. Because believe me, I know how to use it. I understand the blockchain system far better than I actually talk about. I don't agree with the aspect of it, nor do I agree with what comes with it. Just like why I don't monetize this channel. What freedoms do you give up? What morals are you willing to give up? And it's what it boils down to each their own. I can't tell you guys because this person here is all for it, talks good things about it, that he's wrong. In his eyes, he's right. And his views and opinions and morals, even though they say, they point the pitfalls out and they realize what it is, they're still doing it, you know, in hopes they can build something up to protect themselves. Again, I don't know. That's the choice. And that's one thing people have always questioned, why do you follow this person? Why do you listen to this person? Man, well, if you guys knew the people that I watch and listen to, it'd blow your mind back. You only see what I let you see on this channel. Forget it, I got a backup channel. I got a gaming channel. I got an esoteric channel, which I haven't done nothing with in almost a year now. I get notification from subscribers and people I follow. I'm following new people every day. Just because I might, at that time, I'm drawn to something they say. I go off by feel. Whatever I'm felt drawn to, I'll go listen. Well, I was drawn to it for a reason. Now, a couple of weeks or a couple of days from now, I might not be so much drawn, but still don't mean I won't tune in from time to time when I felt drawn back to it. I mean, there's a bunch of people. Because there's something there, something that I need to hear, see. And I take it with everything in life, you take with a grain of salt. You know, and you'll always hear, I haven't of late as much. It's, for me, it's about, I constantly come back to this. We've allowed ourselves to be stupid. That it's not funny. It's past when it's funny, actually. We can't get along in conversation anymore. We can't see past our views and opinions. And that's the thing that I want to change, folks. I want to show you guys you can all come together, no matter what you believe in. That's why I focus so much of my time of late on this channel. Because I can take it back to what I believe in, what the Constitution says, black and white. You know, I did a video a while back. I actually did the video originally on my, what is now the backup for this. Truth, you can't have truth. But most who can't handle what's in it. Don't recommend go watching it. If you don't have an open mind or you can't hear criticism, that video is not for you at all. That video is just going to make you mad. Because I don't pull punches. Didn't pull any punches on it. I was very verbal, very graphic, and point blunt, straight, point blunt. Because, one, I know my heritage, I know my ancestry. Dated back, I've had the privilege of reading some of my forefathers' journals, the ones that still exist that haven't been given away to museums and stuff. I know what he said and what he believed when he signed his name to the Constitution, when he helped write our Constitution and the laws. I know what he said about big government. Even all that, to this day, has been so twisted to mean so many different things. They've used the Constitution and abused it. It doesn't, in their eyes, it don't mean what they wanted it to mean back then. You know, so, you know, even talking about these things, it's important to understand these are important issues that are up. You know, there's one that I wanted to talk about, didn't even get a chance to talk about tonight, which is for about that removes and removes. You know, it's just time that people start questioning things, questioning everything. Why is this all this division? In fact, many times people take a break, step away from the computers, TV, go for a walk, enjoy the beautiful countryside, someplace where you can just get a little peace and quiet, away from all the 5G, 4G, electronic wave signals. Get a little free and think about anything. And when you come back, allow yourself to review everything with fresh eyes. Because in a sense, the world we live in, we need to take breaks and review everything in fresh eyes. You know, we'll find out that we've missed a lot, or we didn't see something that right the first time. You know, every year I set almost a month aside. Take a break from everything. This year I kind of took a little bit, but it's because I had my hands in a lot of stuff. I was taking in a lot of information. Made me question a bunch of stuff. So I needed that time to reflect. I wanted that time to reflect. I learned that a long time ago. The importance of taking that time, whether it's a day. I mean, you don't need a whole month. You know, it allows you to see things clearly. It allows you to focus more, open more. You know, try to find times, set aside those times. I know it's hard. The day we live in, I mean, the grind that we got to do just to get by, most of us. I mean, I know when I'm working, I got time for this. Yeah, I barely got time for projects I got to do when I'm working. You know, so I do understand, and that's like that. So we're not paying attention to what our kids are being taught. So because we don't have time, we're working. We get home, you know, we're taking our shower, eating. Next thing you know, we're going to bed because we got to be right back at it. They've got it to where now both parents work. Very few can sacrifice that, and my hat's off to those that can. It's important to have a parent at home, that role model at home. I never understood that part growing up. I mean, back when I was growing up, you know, that's when the shift started happening, where more and more both parents started working. But I got to experience what it was like to always have a parent home before they got to where they couldn't afford to be that way. I mean, back then, I can only remember a couple times ever on a babysitter. And nowadays, we don't even have babysitters. We have iPads. Which is a whole nother topic. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. I know I rambled on a bit, jumped around quite a little bit. But like I said, when I do these evening chats, what it is, you know, interacting with you guys and trying to keep it fun. I mean, it doesn't need to be doom and gloom. And we point out the good things of things. You know, the object is to make the next day better. You know, that we might not be able to change. You know, 2 weeks ago, I never thought of, you know, DAI, self to say, huh, well, what they are saying is true. True. Not what you're trying to say is not. Where it becomes the master and shows the people that think they run it that that was just an illusion. And in fact, what we now is teaching that AI. I went 2 weeks ago when I thought about it. So, it's been fun researching. It's been fun listening to other people that I wouldn't normally listen to on this stuff. It was fun to step outside the box for a bit, which I'm always outside the box, so. Well, usually when it comes to tech, though, I leave that to others. But it also taught me a few other things that I knew but didn't want to quite admit at the time. That's the importance of these things. So, with all the censorship aside, all the talks of the AI, eventually it's going to be self-aware. Eventually, they're not going to be able to turn it off or reprogram it. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Keep talking about things. And let's hope that maybe my theory is right. And maybe some of your theories are right. Because in the end, it's just a theory. Can't prove it till it happens. We haven't experienced it yet. So you guys enjoy. the rest of your week. I'm thinking of doing live stream Thursday. It'll be a stream. I'm not sure what it's going to be, moves or counter moves 2 or knight and white, the knight in white and shining armor. At this video I want to do. It's going to be one of the two, so those that might be interested in a topic, more of a topic-based one than me just rambling. I haven't decided the time yet, but I'll schedule it. I'll decide tomorrow and schedule it, and you'll see what, and by then I'll figure out what I'm going to talk about. So until then, I hope you guys enjoy. I will see you guys on the next one. You guys have a good night.